Tim, here with probably my last video of this season, I think. We're going to talk about reading plans for 2024, including my bingo card for the year and a gift that a friend sent me that also has some reading challenges in it. That being said, I know I did preview my reading bingo card in a previous video a month or so ago when I had finished this year's bingo board. Since that video, I have tweaked the card I created for this year, so the card in that video is slightly different. Obviously, you're welcome to use that card if it appeals to you more, or you can use this one. This is the one that will be posted on my website. I will have a link below, but this one will be posted on my blog, on my site, for people to use if they want. I'll also put it on my Twitter if you want to check it out there. So that being said, I've got my bingo card here, so I'll be looking at it. When I edit the video, I'll put it next to me so you can read along. The first square is pre-1900s. This is designed to get me to read something like older than I have been recently. If you saw my reading stats, I didn't read very many older books, nothing before 1950. The oldest book I read was like from 1957. So ideally I'll read something pre-1900s, although I've also left room for that to mean a book set in pre-1900s, which is not uncommon for me. I tend to read historical fiction anyway, so that's really the goal is to read something older, but it may be that I use that square for historical fiction. Hang on, in case you can't hear it, the cat wants in. Sorry about that. Crowley is now in the room with me, so if you see or hear any disturbances, that is why. Square number 2 on the bingo card, a wedding, a book that has a wedding in it. Square number 3, a color in the title, pretty self-explanatory. Square number 4, a memoir or biography. I tend to read at least one of these a year, so I just want to keep doing that. And also the LGBT plus square, because I read a lot of LGBT books, but again, with my stats, I did fewer this year than last year, and I want to bring that up a little more again. Science fact or fiction. I am not a big science fiction reader, so I would like to at least try some more. And I'm also not a big science nonfiction reader. I'm just not a big science person. Sorry, I'm getting the cat. And I just, trying to broaden my horizons a little. So I'm going to try something new and different. Recommendations are always welcome. Short stories / poetry. I have some favorite poetry books, and I may reread one of those, but I would also like, again, to branch out to newer things. So if you have recommendations for short story collections or poetry collections, let me know. Foreign culture. I'm trying, again, to branch out of not doing so many Western-based novels and books, something that maybe gives me some understanding of other places, cultures, and ways of life. A reread. I've got a number of books that I would love to reread, so I think that'll be not too hard to do. A new to you author. A bird on the cover. I feel like that's not, it may not be super common, but it's not weird. Like, I should be able to find a book with a bird on a cover without too much trouble. Indie published, because again, I do want to continue to support my fellow indie authors, self-published authors. Indie, I look for self-published, but small press published I think also counts. And then any book is the middle square. It always is. Holiday spirit, any holiday, just some kind of holiday based story, part of a series, whether that's the first book or another book in the series. I would very much like to continue reading The Archers of St. Sebastian. I'd like to read more of Heaven Official's Blessing. So those are potential books. If I read some more Hercule Poirot, I mean, I think, since those are standalones, I don't know if I could count those as a series. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Food. I see all these books with like food central to them, like bakeries or, restaurants or something. And I haven't read any, so I kind of want to read one of those. But at the same time, food could be nonfiction. Like I could read something about the food industry or the restaurant industry. Again, recommendations, please. 400 plus pages. I tend to look for books that are a little bit shorter. Around 300 to 350 is the sweet spot for me. 400 and more is pushing it, but I'm trying to get more comfortable with longer reads. I'm just not a fast reader because I don't always have a lot of time for it, so I tend not to pick up chonky books. But magic, a book that has some kind of magical element to it. History, fact, or fiction. I do love history, and obviously historical fiction is one of my favorites, so this shouldn't be too hard for me to check off. School days, something related to school or a school setting. It could be YA and they're in school, or it could be, an adult book that's got some kind of school environment, maybe dark academia, something like that. A 2-word title, a place in the title, a purple cover. There have been some very colorful cover designs lately. That seems to be the latest thing, the splashes of color all over the covers. Some of them are very abstract, but I don't know if I see purple that often. Purple's my favorite color, so I would like to find a book with a purple cover. A rural setting, so maybe one of those cute romances that take place in a small country town or something. I don't know. I don't normally read stuff like that, but that could be fun. Or something set on a farm or whatever. And then finally, music / showbiz. So a book, fact or fiction, that has some like showbiz element to it. So that is my bingo card for the year. And then also, I had a friend send me for my birthday the Ultimate Reading Challenge. This is a really fun little thing that, like, if I read something that fits the prompt, I can then open the envelope and get a little prize, I guess. I was able to open one already. Participate in a book club, which I do, and it had this cute little notepad in it. I don't know if you can see that with the glare, but it's just a little notepad that looks like the old library checkout cards, which, if you're old enough like me, you remember what these were, but if you're not, you may have seen them like on design, like t-shirt designs or tote bag designs, and been like, oh, isn't that cute? But I don't know. But I'm old enough to remember those, and my friend who sent me this is a librarian, so it's very, appropriate. So I'll be doing this as well, and yeah, I will double dip. If it fits my reading bingo board and this, I will count it for both. I'm not going to try and do more than that, because, again, my reading challenge on Goodreads is going to be 40 books again this year. I just squeaked by. I'm finishing Shades of Grey, and that'll be my 41st book for this year. So I did make my 40 by reading the most recent Cardcaptor Sakura manga. Got me to 40, and I've got a few more days to finish Shades of Grey. I have about 100 pages left. It shouldn't be a problem, except I do expect to be busy this last week of the year, so I don't actually know how much reading I'm going to get done. But even if I have to finish it in the new year, I don't think I'd count it for 2024, except that I think Goodreads, if I don't finish it until 2024, I think Goodreads puts it on my 2024 challenge. I'm not sure about that. I guess we'll see what happens. Ideally, I finish it this year and it's not an issue. But those are my reading challenges and plans for 2024. Do you have any? Do you plan ahead like this? I, as a mood reader, it's hard for me to plan. I've got a huge stack of books, and at some point I'll be in the mood to read them. But I also keep going to the library. I just got like 3 more books at the library. So I already, I have a lot. I have a lot already kind of stacked up and ready to go. And we'll see how it goes this year. Until then, until next time, actually, if I get a chance, we'll talk about all the movies we've been watching. We just watched Saltburn last night. We're trying to get all of our, awards contender movies watched ahead of like nominations and awards. So we watched Saltburn, which was interesting, and we can talk about that in another video. We've been watching Fargo. We just started watching the Percy Jackson series. We're really enjoying it. We can talk about that in a future video as well. So that it may do that video before the end of the year, but it might just be something that happens at the beginning of next year. We will see. Until then, take care.